You are listening to the Airflow Podcast, and I'm your host, Ricky Thomas. Welcome to the one and only weekly podcast that provides information and inspiration that will help you live your life like the air that you were created to be. So sit back, relax, and flow with me. All right. Welcome everybody back to the Airflow Podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Thomas. And today we have a special guest.
Too special.
The Master King, Chef Jerod Wilcher.
What's happening, people?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, my brother. Thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure.
Man, I'm excited to have you on, man. You got so many things going on. It's hard to keep up with you. So, you know, I was like, I was happy when you said you'd do it because you're a hard man to catch up with now, man. You Hollywood now.
Oh, man. I mean, I claim that. You know what I mean? You know, tongue is powerful. Our words are powerful. So
yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
God is good, man. He's blessed me. And then, you know, anytime I can reach back and give back, you know, I'm with it all day, every day.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I think you got, I wanted you on here because, when I first started talking about this, and I think you and I talked about this last year sometime. I was man, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And you was like, yeah, that's dope. Yeah. And I was just like, you were one of the first people I thought of. Cause I'm like, man, your story and just your journey and everything is great. So we're going to get into that. But I was like, yeah, this is, people need to hear that, the information that you have and just, your testimony and it's just inspiring.
Yes,
I think that is what this podcast is about. So, let's take it all the way back, So you born and raised in Miami, Florida, 305.
You know it. Yes, sir.
305. So, any siblings?
Yes, sir. So, man, we came up, I want to say, with a blended family.
Okay.
My dad is 40 years older than me. So he had me, he was 40. And he had already had a whole slew of kids. So total is 16 of us.
Oh, wow.
16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of them old school families.
Yeah. 2 have passed on. I had a sister that passed away. She died of the HIV, the AIDS virus. And back then it was real prominent. Back then in I want to say early 90s.
Yeah. That's when it was the people that it was getting wild and they didn't have any treatments and stuff. So treatments wasn't as big and popular. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a brother who was shot in the stomach, shot and killed. So,
oh man,
there's 14 of us left, man, and we're a pretty close family, pretty tight knit. You know what I mean? So,
right,
yeah. So 16 kids. My dad.
Yeah. So you definitely got a lot of different. I'm sure you got a million stories about just growing up, but Oh yeah. What would you say, like, just your childhood was like growing up for you?
Man, it was, my childhood was challenging. I say from the age of, being born to about 6 or 7, I'm a kid, so you don't pay attention to much.
Right.
And life was good. But then when I hit around 8 or 9 years old, my mom and dad got really addicted to crack. And it kind of tore the family apart.
Right.
They were always doing it back then. Now when I look back, but it didn't dominate. It didn't take over until I got around that 8 or 9 age where, their sense of taking care of their family was just shot. It was like every man for himself for me at a very young age.
Wow. So you were having to take care of yourself a lot, or, was it just kind of like just different situations for y'all to just survive through that?
I was taking care of myself, but I had older brothers. But
okay.
the environment that I grew up in, my brothers was slanging dope and robbing and stuff like that. So,
right.
And then they left the house because they were older. So it was me and my 2 little ones. So I was my 2 little sisters. So if I was 8 or 9, they were like 6 and 5, 6 and 4.
Wow.
So. And my mom and them, they were so into, the drug habit.
Right.
Nothing else mattered.
Right, getting kids, that high.
Yeah. That they were chasing that high.
So you were one of the youngest out of the bunch.
Yes. Man, I think I'm like number 11 because underneath me, I have I gotta say the names to count it. I know it's crazy. Regina, Tallulah, Aaron, Famous, Survivors. So there's 5 underneath me. So
okay.
we can add that 16. I think that's 11 older than me, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, being kind of the one of the out of the youngest group and, having to experience, kind of a new reality kind of fast, how did that transition into you getting into, I guess the culinary arts? Like, how did you go from the childhood there that, dealing with what you dealt with and then getting into or developing this passion for cooking?
Wow. That is a good question. Honestly, I did not want to continue because I had to do what was around me to survive.
Right.
And I did not want to continue doing that because what I saw around me, I did not want that to be, a part of me.
You didn't want to be a victim of your environment.
Right. So I saw family members going to jail. I seen people getting shot. And I'm not talking about like on TV. I'm saying like I'll be on the block, you on the block.
Yeah.
Somebody come up, pop you, and I'm seeing that with my own eyes.
You were in the trenches for real then.
Yeah, man. I'm seeing people getting robbed and killed and family members going to jail, family members getting killed, family members in hospitals after being shot. So I was like, man, like if this is the end, if the goal is to survive, this ain't surviving. Like there has to be another way.
Yeah.
So in order for me to stop selling drugs and dealing with the environment, I still needed to make money, And one of the jobs I took paid every week, and it kind of like slowly, because I was in it and the money was easy and quick, but there's consequences to that.
Right.
So I got this job working at the Hard Rock Cafe in Miami, and they paid every week, and I worked a lot of hours. So that kind of supplemented the money I was making, from selling drugs to actually being legal. So the passion for cooking wasn't there. The passion for making money, or legal money was there, and the cooking was something that someone else saw in me and helped bring it out. So
you were working at Hard Rock. Were you like kind of a line cook? Were you just working in the kitchen? Like,
yeah, I started out as a line cook. This is crazy. This is like the first big job. I worked at McDonald's and all that, but that didn't last because the money wasn't.
Yeah. McDonald's money is cool when you're young, but when you coming from that life, McDonald's money is like a slap in the face. So
right. So my first job, this is crazy. I used to line. They put me because my experience wasn't that great. I have to take a whole bunch of plates and line them up, maybe 50, and make what we call burger sets. But I'm saying 50, but like 50 every 5 minutes or every 3 minutes. Wow. So I take up the plates, line them up, lettuce, tomato, onion.
So you just layering across 50 plates.
Yeah, pickle. As quick as I can make them, the guy working the grill or the person next to me would take the plates, put them on the table behind me, and he would put the burger on there and they would fly out. And I couldn't keep up. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going back on the block. So man, I had to pay my dues. So once I did that, I started getting good at that. And then I gradually moved to the fry station, the salad station.
So like I'm Coming to America, you start off on washing lettuce and then you move to the grill. And that's when the big bucks start rolling.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. So Hard Rock was the start, moving and line cook, kind of where did you go from there, from Hard Rock?
Well, I did 10 years at the Hard Rock. So we got to stay at Hard Rock for a minute.
Okay.
When at the Hard Rock, they wouldn't let me cook on the grill because I was young, man. I'm gonna say 18, 17.
Oh yeah, you were young then working out there.
Yes. So one day the grill cook didn't come. And when you work grill, that's the big money.
Right.
And I was like, I can do it. And they was like, little man, go on somewhere. Go on back over there on the front. It's like, no, I can do it. The grill guy said he was gonna be late. So it's like, okay, just stay on there until he get here. And he never showed up, and I rocked it out. So then, I went to the grill. And then from that, I went to prep. Now, prep is like making the sauces, the soups, like when you really cooking the gravies, all the desserts. I had no experience in that. And it was this old guy, old Cuban guy, and old Cuban gay guy. He was not very receptive of me, and I was ignorant that back then I wasn't very receptive of him.
Right.
And before I started working back there, I used to like say mean things to him and disrespect him because he was gay, and I thought we were ignorant back then. I was a little kid and I used to mess with him, but he took the time to show me how to bake and make sauces and make soups, and I stayed back there with them for about a good year, and I got really good at it. And from that, the chef there asked me to start putting away the trucks that came in, the deliveries, and the place was really busy.
Right. So
you had to be quick and put the trucks away. And from putting the trucks away, he started teaching me how to do inventory. So now I don't work the line, and I did prep, and these guys seeing it in me. And for me, I feel like I'm just making money.
Right.
But you all know how God works. He's setting me up for something else, and I don't even know it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So after a year, I probably was the only guy in that kitchen that knew how to do everything. So then my chef was sleeping with the bartender, and they told him he had to transfer, and they wanted to find a new chef.
Mm-hmm.
So the chef was like, well, you don't have to look nowhere because you got Jerod back there in the back. And no one knew I was doing all that extra training. Now, I was doing all that stuff like extra on my time and not clocking in and, or clocking out, but staying. I was learning all on my own.
So there's a message in that, but go ahead.
It is a message in that. I was doing all that on my own. And when the time came for his position to be taken, he was like, yo, for the last 3 months, and he was telling the truth, for the last 3 months, I haven't been doing anything. This is what the chef said to the gym man. I haven't been doing anything. Jerod's been coming in at 5 a.m. Now, the gym managers don't know that because I would come in at 5 a.m, but my shift started like at 11. So I would clock in at 11, but I would come in at 5 to learn everything. And he was like, Jerod's been coming in at 5 every morning for the last few months. He knows the whole inventory system. He's our main grill guy. He's our second best prep guy. I mean, there ain't nothing in here he can't do. So from that, I got promoted to management from that.
All right. So that's a lot that you just unpacked in that little bit of time. That's so I want to go back because, we want to go back to where you got the opportunity to get on the grill. Before you took the grill, I mean, you was confident. You was like, I can do it.
Right.
Had you been cooking at home or anywhere else? I know you worked at McDonald's, but actually operating a grill in any capacity for yourself, anything else before that?
Yes, I worked at this restaurant called Fuddruckers.
No, Fuddruckers.
It was a burger joint, and they had a flat top grill. It's kind of different from the Hard Rock. But I worked at Fuddruckers for a little bit, so I knew I can do it. But
so you had a little bit of experience actually working the grill. Okay,
right, and I was just cocky, confident, little kid. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it takes that though. Sometimes it takes a little bit of confidence to step up the way you did. So,
man, all honesty, I was scared because Hard Rock is like. Back then anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to be fast and no recooks, and Yeah, so I was scared, but I knew I can do it, and I was like, if I can't do it, then what's gonna happen? They're gonna put me back on fry, like
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't even now. I can't stay on one spot. Like I have to move on to something else. You know what I mean? Even if it's not comfortable for me, because when you doing something for a long time, it becomes normal, no matter what it is. Like
it's
let's
routine.
say it's routine. So people say I don't have any experience in that, or I've never done it before. But I guarantee you, whatever you start, 2-3 months, a year from now, it's like riding a bike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere.
Bro, I take that back to, I mean, we on the podcast. I take that back to the first time I cooked crack. Like,
yeah,
I ain't never cooked crack before. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
And then about 6-7 times,
you whipping it
done.
Up. You know,
yeah, it's done. So I took that mentality. If I could do that, or if I could live in a house, because when my mom was on drugs, like no light bills paid, we had candles, no food in the house.
Right.
So if I can live from that, I mean, ain't nothing I can't.
Right. And my wife and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes you look at people who have some of the greatest success stories, and they come from, when people say the bottom, they come from the bottom, because they're like, look, I know what it's like to not have anything. So for me, I don't ever want to go back to that again. And it gives them this extra drive and push, to never go back to that point.
Exactly.
So, I want to go. So, you got the job, you own the grill. And then, I want to go back to when you was talking, you was like, I was putting in extra time.
Correct.
On my time.
Right.
Not on the company's time, to learn all these different aspects of the job, not realizing that I was being prepared for, what was to come,
Right.
And, I want to touch upon that a little bit, because, just understanding and knowing, enough about you to know where you are today, that's big right there, because, a lot of people don't think about that. You always hear prepare for the job that you want, not work at the job you have now. You got to prepare and get ready for it. Correct. And sometimes it takes sacrifice, and you sacrifice your time. You could have been off of work and at home chilling.
Right.
But you saw an opportunity, didn't know where it was going to lead you. Like you said, you didn't know where it was going to take you. Didn't know that's where it was. But that's just showing God having a plan, and you just walking into it and doing what you had to do and picking up a new skill set. So now you getting on this opportunity, the chef's getting let go. He's telling like, you have it, it's on you. So how did that transition go with the owners? It was just like, yeah, we'll definitely put you in there. They were like, no, we got to see what you can do. Like, how did that process work out?
Well, to rewind just a little bit, when I was doing that on my time, and some of the dudes in there, man, you Uncle Tom, or nigga, you ain't even getting paid for that. Like I was getting that all the time. Like, like, hey, oh, you can't say nothing around Jerod. He gonna go back and, I was getting all type of,
you were getting burned up in there because you was trying to better yourself.
It was hard, man. Even with my first kids, my first wife, my girlfriend at the time, she's like, you doing all this extra stuff. You could be home and you going in, and then you ain't even clocking in, because, we was living together. We had bills to pay.
Right.
And, she seen the check with 40 hours, but see me there 55. She like,
that ain't
what's going on?
Right.
Yeah. So even that battle was hard, man. And I was just like, hey, man, they willing to teach me. And like, they need to teach you on the clock. So I hear from her, then I go to work, and I hear from my coworkers and peers. So it was hard.
That's tough to get it, because sometimes when you on the road to better yourself or better your situation, even though it's closer to you, may not necessarily understand what you're doing and the purpose. You can explain it, but when bills are due and money is short, they're like, well, that time can be used for other stuff, not seeing the future and what the end goal could be in that. Which is that's a tough thing to deal with, because you are getting it on both sides. You at the office getting it, and you getting it when you get home. It's like, where do I get my peace from? So that's crazy. So All right, so we got through that part. You're dealing with that. Now opportunity presents itself to potentially take over the kitchen. So now how does that play out?
So the general manager calls me in the office and he gives me an offer. And back then, like 40, if you made 40 grand back then, and I'm saying 90, I think I became management in 99, 98, somewhere up in there. I was like, I want to make $40,000. And he was like, I'll offer you 39. And for some reason, I'm like, if it ain't 40, I ain't taking it. And he was like, 39. And he was like, I think he had me on speakerphone with corporate or something like that. And then he did something where he hung up the phone, supposedly by mistake, but he did it on purpose. He hung up the phone with them some kind of way. He got up, went to his door, closed his door, came back, sat down, and said, Jerod, you are an amazing talent. You're a young black man, probably had dreads. Yeah, I had dreads at the time. Young black man, dreads. I'm a white Jewish guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna get this opportunity again. If I was you, I would say yes to the 39,000. You work for me for a couple of years, and you can write your own story. You can leave, you can do whatever. But I'm trying to help you out, young man. So when I get up, I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna get back on the phone. If you tell me $40,000 again, I can't give you the job because they won't let. He was like, take the job. He got up, opened the door. The guy called the people. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to the phone. Where did we left off? And somebody said we was at the offer, whatever. It's like, okay, Jerod, we're gonna offer you 39,000, blah 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 blah. And then I took the job.
Okay.
So he kind of helped me with that whole situation because I was being stubborn, and you know what I mean. And he gave me some real, man.
But you know what the beauty of it all is, and again, it's just how God does things. He puts people in your path that look different than you, just different backgrounds, different situations. But he saw the potential. Like you said, he said you got a bright future. He didn't see the dreads and all that stuff. He saw the work ethic, what you did to get to that point, and understanding how you were working, extra hours and not clocking in. This is on your time to get to that point. So he knew he had something valuable, but he also understands how that talent can translate in the industry, being in the food industry like that. So, all right. So you take the job, and now at that point, are you the head chef or?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you're the head chef at the Hard Rock.
Cause remember them guys I told you that was like
hating on you and stuff.
Yeah, but they was my homeboys, but they would take shots. Mm-hmm. So, and then after work, we would have drinks, and we'd go smoke together.
Yeah.
But we'd go chill out on the block after that promotion. Man, it took a while, man. It was like, man, what you doing out here with us, man? Like you.
So now it's that separation of you the boss, hang with us now. Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of that, and I know it's tough, but at the end of the day, if people really with you, if you're trying to better yourself, yeah, either they're gonna come around or they're gonna fall off, and sometimes your success can be a reminder of where other people or where they are in their lives, and sometimes that's tough for folks to deal with. So
yeah, man, it was hard because I knew all the stuff they would do, or how they would sneak food out, or how they would take the trash out and go smoke weed. And I was like, oh my God,
it's a conflict. Yeah, it's a conflict. Okay. So
yeah, got through it though.
So you managing the kitchen. Now you said you were there for 10 years. So how long when you started till you got this management position, how many years was that in?
I'm gonna say 3 or 4.
Okay. So
up in there.
So you moved up pretty quick, taking over the whole kitchen, so you're running the show in the kitchen, you're doing the inventory, all the stuff that you were training.
Everything. Yeah.
Doing it all. So what's the next move for you at this point?
After 10 years of Hard Rock, in between that, okay. So I still had one foot in the street.
Okay.
And then I met my first wife, and we got married. And then a couple of years later, we had my daughter Victoria.
Okay.
And when Victoria was born, I still was kind of, in the streets, but not in the streets. And my ex-wife, my first ex-wife, and her parents loved the food that I would cook for them. And they would always tell me that, I should go to culinary school. Bruh, I hated school. The only thing I liked about school was the sports I used to play. And I went to school for broadcast and journalism.
Okay.
So I liked those classes.
Yeah.
And of course the girls. Right. But as far as like
the work and everything, yeah.
I hated it. So I'm grown now and I'm making an okay living. So why I want to go to school for it? You know what I mean?
Back to school, right.
But then when, my ex-wife was pregnant, I was like, okay, I got to do something because I'm getting ready to be an example for somebody. You know what I mean? So I decided to go to culinary school.
Okay. So and
while I was managing, that was.
So that's big. I mean, again, bettering yourself. So again, and it's a theme there. So when you were a line cook, you were doing extra. You were taking your time to learn stuff, and in the kitchen, in and out the kitchen, inventory, all that other stuff. You weren't getting paid for that. Now you're going to school, outside. So again, sacrificing time, from the family and just your own time to wind down to get this degree. So you went to Johnson & Wales University. And so what was the driver for that? Did somebody say, hey, if you get your degree in culinary arts, that'll help you, double or triple your salary or be able to move different places? Like what prompted that degree in culinary arts?
Man, quite a few things. And like I said earlier, I grew up in a house with like no electricity, no food, no guidance. I had to figure out what we were going to eat. And dude, I used to have, it was a tinfoil plate. Like if you buy some potato pie and that tinfoil pan that comes, I would take that, mix some flour and water in it, and hold it over a candle and move it around until it got kind of hard, and feed like doughy bread to me and my two little sisters.
Wow.
So looking back on that, like that still like put fire in me now. Like if I can come from that, like ain't nothing I can't do. So when I start doubting myself and saying, dang, I don't want to go to school, like, it's gonna be too much and I don't feel like doing all that, and then I sit. Or even my ex-wife will say, how you gonna say it's too hard? And you came up in a house with no lights and no food, and your mom them drugs, strung out, and you gonna say this too hard? Like she would remind me of that, and then that would just give me fire. So there was, outside of that, there was no like, if you get a degree, your salary would double and nothing like that. I already knew that, and I knew I didn't want to stay at Hard Rock because I wanted more.
Right.
And I could cook pretty good, and I figure if I get some kind of training with because I was all over the place with my cooking. Like it was good, but I didn't know what it was called I was doing. I didn't know what souffle was, or what simmer, or saute, or none of those culinary. I didn't know. I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because it was a God-given gift.
Right.
But I had to go there for them to really polish me up and get an understanding of what it was I was doing. Because
the techniques down and everything.
Hispanic guy was telling me how to do it. The older guy was telling me how to do it. He taught me prep. But he was just, you put it in like this when you do it. So I took from what he taught me and made it my own.
Yeah, he didn't give you the technical pieces of it. He just showed you like, this is what you do. And you just pick that up. So I mean, you got real world training, before you actually got the refined, school training, which sometimes that helps you in school because you got that experience. So
Yeah, when I got to school, actually, I said it was going to be hard. It was so easy because I was in the industry already.
Right.
So when I went to school, it was a lot of, I was saying kids because I was like 20 something. And a lot of people, it was a lot of older folks too, but most of it was kids like coming out of high school saying they want to be a chef and didn't know what it took. So they would take one recipe and divide up different, like if they was doing like pico de gallo, they would say, here, Ricky, you do the tomatoes. Jerod, you do the onions. Leslie, you chop up the cilantro. Leroy, you squeeze the limes.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all put it all together and y'all taste it. And that's group A. And group B will make the guacamole. But in the industry where I came from, it was a whole list that I had to do. So when I went to work every day, I would look and say, okay, I got to make guacamole, pico de gallo, soup, gravy, barbecue sauce. I got smoked ribs. Like I had to do
So it was
all
just
those
you.
things.
Yeah, it was all on you. Yeah.
Right. So to go to culinary school, and it was like, okay, Jerod, you chop the tomatoes. Everybody else like, I'm done, and I'm just sitting around. I'm like, yo, like I would complain to the chefs there or the teachers there, like this ain't how it is. Like y'all setting these people up to fail when they get out there.
Right.
Like this is not real world training y'all giving them.
So looking at they looking at you like, who is this guy coming in here telling us?
Right. So culinary school was a piece of cake. So now I did learn a lot, but as far as the actual doing the work or whatever, it was good.
So were your cutting skills already on point?
No.
So is that something you picked up at culinary schools?
Yes.
Okay.
You got graded on cuts. You got graded on cracking eggs, peeling potatoes. Listen, man. When I say I done it all, dishwashing and everything, I done it all, and I kind of think like right now, I mean, I'm standing on my soapbox. Like the industry is kind of watered down because chefs are not chefs. Like I feel like to be a chef, like you have to go through the whole process.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like not like just wake up one morning and say I want to be a chef or go to the online classes. And I know it's 2021 and I guess I'm old fashioned, but I feel like for
there's always something to be said about a person who's gone through a process to get to where they are, and it's not too short. I know nowadays people can become successful overnight, and it truly happens. Even from the cooking standpoint, you can just be very good at a certain thing,
right?
And you can monetize off of that, and people will call you a chef. I mean, I watch a ton of cooking shows. I love to cook, but I wanted to go to actual culinary school. Like I was serious about wanting to do that because I believed I wanted to learn the right way, proper techniques of how to do that. So that was important to me. So I can see where you're coming from with that because you're like, man, I did all this stuff. I got people that they call themselves chefs and they can't even slice an onion in the right way.
Right.
They throw it in a processor and that's how they do it. So I can definitely understand some of that for sure.
Right. But it's the world we live in. So
yeah. So all right. So we Hard Rock was there, did 10 years. At some point, you get an opportunity to jump and move over to Tennessee. So how does that all come about?
Well, after 10 years of Hard Rock, so 2005. In 2005, I tell them, 2004, I say once I get my 10 years, because 10 years at the Hard Rock, they give you a Rolex. So I wanted my Rolex. I don't know if they still do that, but back then I got a Rolex. So after 10 years of working for them, I got my Rolex. And I put in my notice. And they were sad to see me go because I wanted to do my own thing. So I bought a food trailer back then.
Okay.
This is way before food trucks was popular. So for 2 years, I worked on my food truck in Miami. I sold stuff like, I called it, I'm still hood now, so don't laugh at the name.
No,
I think I got a shirt upstairs with the logo and the name of the trailer was oh man, Ghetto Gourmet.
Ghetto Gourmet. All right.
I had the chef like doing the kiss on the shirt, and the
Ghetto Gourmet.
and the logo was, or the saying was, eating good in the hood, and I just stole that from Eating Good in the Neighborhood from
Right.
What's that? Tony Roma's
yeah, one of those
like
restaurants.
That.
Yeah,
Chili's or whatever.
I think it is Chili's.
Yeah, so I called it Eating Good in the Hood. It was Ghetto Gourmet, and I was doing stuff like fried. See, my mind's different, so I was doing stuff people wasn't doing. So I was frying crab legs and doing like fried lobster tails and buffalo lobster, and
and I've noticed that about you. You take, people usually treat seafood as a delicacy, and they treat it in a certain way and kind of upscale. You take it and like, I'm gonna fry it. I mean, the first time I saw you deep fry a lobster tail, I'm like, man, that sounds so weird and so good at the same time. So
yeah, people love it, man.
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is, you think about you talk about how you think differently, and that innovation that you have, you kind of can trace that back to where you say you were sitting there with your younger sisters, your younger siblings, and you got the flour and the water and the pan and the candle, and you making some bread, or some type of doughy bread for y'all to eat. That came out of necessity, but it was also a sign that, you do have that skill. Like, you can probably go back and track, like, man, I used to make some crazy things that
it's true.
That helped us get through. And that's what sets you apart from other people that's in the industry, when you think about that. So yeah, I saw that connection, just that made me think about that. Cause you do have a lot of innovative ways, and I want to talk about your style, because I know you said you didn't really have a style before.
Right.
But just to go back, we'll get into a little bit of that. But you said, so now you got the food trailer, Ghetto Gourmet.
They lining up, man. They lining up. Boy.
So you hit the club scene after the club?
Yeah, so I would have a spot in the hood. I have a same spot where people could come to. And if I had a slow day, I would drive over to the strip clubs and go in there and shoot DJ $50 and some wings and say, hey, let everybody know I'm outside. And I was like, hey, man, I go out there and get the wings, and then I sell out and go about my business, man.
Right.
But I'm still in the hood, so, you know, you got to be careful. So, my dad, my mom, she's still on drugs, God bless her soul. Back then, she's still on them now, but she was like my main employee. And, when you're on drugs, like, your personality changed. So I never knew what mama I was going to get.
Right.
So, but she bought some some flavor to the trailer. People would walk up to the trailer and they'd be like, how many wings I get? And if it was like a heavy set dude, and she was like, it don't matter how many you can get. You look like you eat about 50 of them. So the people just love it.
Like that personality.
Yeah. Like, mama, you can't say that. You can't say that to the people.
They probably they loving that. They probably like that. Yeah, add a little flavor to it.
They loved it, man. And then I had my nephews like in abandoned cars, and back then you had the chirp phones.
Yeah, the Nextels, right?
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Hey, somebody walking up on you from the left side. Like, I'm finna get out and walk over there." So they'll be over in the car strapped,
watching you.
I got like 5.
So you got security,
man. I ain't crazy. I'm from the hood.
Hey, now you gotta keep your head on the swivel.
You gotta protect my investment,
right?
Shoot. Oh, but I did forget to say, when I first started at the Hard Rock, like, I don't know why I did it, but I enrolled in the 401k, didn't know nothing about it. I'm this ghetto kid, and I enrolled in the 401k, and they took 10% of my check every single paycheck, and I never touched it. And then 10 years later, when I cashed out with some paper, man. I think I had like 70, 80 stacks.
Oh, man. So you was like, okay, go.
So I bought the food trailer. Yeah. So, of course I'm a protector. So I had so many weapons on that thing. But, it was all love. Nobody ever tried to rob me or nothing like that. So I would pull up to the strip clubs, like you said, and then go home and do it all over again. And then I did that for About 2 years. 2 years.
So you're an entrepreneur for a couple of years with the food trailer, after leaving kind of the corporate side of things. What did you learn about yourself? Going from the corporate structure to, running your own food trailer, and having to, you were responsible for everything now. You kind of were doing that in the kitchen, but now it's a different ball game because if you don't hustle, you don't work, you're not gonna eat.
Right. Discipline, man. Discipline. Like when I was working in the field, even as a manager, if I wasn't feeling good, I can call in and my check could be the same.
Right.
If my kids had a soccer game or something and I want to take a certain day off or a holiday off or vacation for a week and I go to work, my check could be the same.
Right.
But with your own business, I mean, you take a day off, you ain't getting them. I mean, I ain't gonna say you ain't getting the money back, but that's a loss.
Right.
I ain't gonna say it's a loss because I got provide. But if you take a day off, you have to be really smart about it because you're not guaranteed to get that money. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, your budget changes. Not to say that what you would normally make on that day, if you were out there working, it's gonna shift. Like you said, it doesn't mean that you won't get it back, but it's just one of those things. If you don't work, you still got to work. Your guy will provide, but you still got to get up and do something. So those moments where before you had PTO and you had all those corporate benefits, when you're your own person, your own business, a little different. So, okay.
And then you look at stuff like gas and propane gas and like utensils and napkins and a little ketchups and mustards and something peppers and the to-go plates. Like I was spending money before I even bought food. I was like, oh my God, like this is but I learned how to do numbers and stuff when I was at the Hard Rock. So
I was gonna say, doing the inventory and all that stuff.
Right.
That was part of your preparation for what God was really trying to get you to. What I'm saying? But that's, again, somebody who doesn't look like you, doesn't think like you, totally different person, but saw something in you to prepare you for where you are or where you were at that point. So that's good, man. That's definitely good. So the food trailer is popping now. Ghetto Gourmet is taking over the hood. What's the next step for you?
Well, everything has a season. And what I mean by that is, in the summertime and football games, it's good money for trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas time come around and start getting cold, and that many people coming out, and that many people going to the clubs. I ain't selling out.
Now, what's cold in Miami?
70.
Man.
Definitely 60 something. It hit that 6.
Oh man.
We got Timberland boots on and
we're still swimming in that weather. Let that be 60 something in Detroit. We would be still outside kicking it. That's perfect weather right there. But so y'all get 60-degree weather, y'all hit y'all winter time that you got a shift thing. So what was the shift?
Man, it got slower, so the money wasn't as prevalent. And then, with me not working in a corporate job, insurance is high and medical bills. So I thought that I can do the trailer and work. So I got back into the corporate business and I started working for the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
And I thought I could work for the Cheesecake Factory and run the trailer. And I had like family members like cooking on the trailer, and it was kind of detrimental to me because the way I prepared it and the way they were preparing it was different. And people would complain, like when they see me, you'd be like, yo man, your food wasn't good. Like how you cook it. And it was kind of diminishing my name. So I decided to just shut the trailer down. That was a hard decision. And then just jump back into I tried to do both for a while, but it wasn't working out. So I became a chef or a kitchen manager at the Cheesecake Factory. And here I go starting over again. So the Hard Rock, I was the boss. Well, I wasn't the boss. At the Hard Rock, I started to cook, became the boss.
Mm-hmm.
then I was my own boss. And then when I went to the Cheesecake Factory, I wasn't the boss no more. I just came in as a regular chef or kitchen manager.
Yeah.
And I was on the bottom of the 3 or 4 that they had there. So here I go starting over again.
So now you get that taste of entrepreneurship. You're doing good, but realize, and this is important. I want people to hear this because there's a lot of people that want to start businesses, and this is not to scare you, but it's to tell you be prepared for those times. Do you have a business that you're doing that is seasonal? And if so, have a plan, because like you said, insurance still has to be paid. There's still, you got to pay for the truck, the trailer that you have. You still got to have insurance on that, even if you're not using it actively, because if something happens, now you're out of all of that, even medical, if you got to pay for your own medical insurance, something still has to be paid. You got to have insurance. And in your situation, you're married with kids. So, you got to, make something happen. So, that's important for people to hear that, because, a lot of people get in this euphoric state, like, I'm going to go start this truck. Great idea and do all this stuff, but they don't think about the little things to be prepared, so.
Yeah, definitely got to be prepared. And I was prepared, but I didn't look at, 2 years from now. Because here's the thing, when you first start a business, you look at the beginning like it's going to always be like that. And you don't realize you're a new thing and people want the new thing. But after a while, even if it's great, it kind of fizzes out a little bit. And how did you spend your money when it was all coming in like boatloads? What did you do with the money? Like, did you manage it? Did you waste it? Because you know tomorrow you're going to make the same thing again. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Had I, I'm a young guy. So if I pull up at the strip club and I sell out, I'm gonna shut the strip club down. I got cash money here. I'm gonna go in there and make it do what it do with a little bit of it,
Right.
No, I couldn't give it all back because I had to take money home to the wife.
Well, yeah, that's true. So got to pay the bills.
Couldn't get it all back, but I gave enough to the strip club and tell her, it was an okay day.
Yeah.
I made $1,800 when I really made 27, 26.
Right.
So
choices. But I mean that again, how you spend your money, just because you made profit, you got to be able to put back into the business or save it for, those rainy days, that will come. Right.
Yeah, because it averages out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's good. I mean, I want people to make sure they understand that, because some people just, they jump in, and there's nothing wrong. You got to jump. I know Steve Harvey says jump, and you got to do that, but you also have to come in and look at the bigger picture. It can't just be, I'm just going to jump in head first and not think about the future, because, you got to look at it in a bigger picture at some point at a high level. So, so you're at Cheesecake Factory, and Cheesecake
bottom
Factory
of the totem pole.
Bottom of the totem pole. You done moved up,
management.
Come back, bottom of the totem pole management at the Cheesecake Factory. So what's the play there?
Man, Cheesecake Factory is cutthroat, man.
Okay.
That place is so busy. Managers don't last. Employees don't last. Even nowadays, it's probably the same. Like, they make like $30,000 a day, and it's really, really, really busy. So my first day there, when I showed up to actually do like the on the job training, the employees was like, "Oh, here come number 3. Here come number 3." I was like, "The hell is they talking about? Number 3?" So the guy that was training me, he's like, "Don't worry about that. Don't worry about them." So my first day, outside of orientation, my first day was steward, which was put away the truck. Now, I got experience with that with Cheesecake Factory. I mean, from the Hard Rock. Ain't no big deal. I can put away a truck. No matter how big or small it is, like, okay, this is something I can do. So the truck came in, it was real big, and we was putting away the truck, and the dude was training me. He was just an hourly guy. He was like, "Dang, I ain't never seen a manager put a truck up like that before, man." Because I took off my jacket,
You got in there, rolled up your sleeves and got in there.
Yeah. And he was like, "Wow, I never seen a manager do that." I said, "Yeah." I said, when I was managing the Hard Rock, this is what I did. I can actually find peace and joy in it. Like, you organize everything, you touch everything, you know everything you got, whatever. So when I sat down and talked to him, I said, "Hey, what's up with these guys saying he go number 3? Like, what they was talking about?" And he was like, "This week, 2 managers came in, and after putting away the truck, they quit. And you the third guy this week, so they was like, he go number 3 for the week, and he wanted to know if you was gonna quit or not." So that's how hard it was.
But they didn't know you had already been dealing with a lot of that stuff at the Hard Rock in terms of being able to put the truck up and do all that. So for you, it wasn't that big of a deal.
It wasn't that big of a deal, right? And then, I went through the whole training on the line, and my middle name is Jerod, right?
Right.
So when I started cooking on the line, I love to cook. I caught on, and cheesecake, they do everything from scratch every time you order. So like if you order like the chicken Madeira, they take a raw piece of chicken, they season it with salt and pepper, they dredge it in the flour, they dredge it in the egg wash, they put the oil in the pan, and they cook chicken in the pan, they flip it over, they put it up in the salamander, they take it down, they put asparagus and cheese on it, put like everything is to order. You order some with Alfredo sauce, as soon as it comes in, the ticket's coming in, they make it the Alfredo sauce real quick, and everything is from scratch. So that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Culinary school, So I got on the line and I was killing it. So the big corporate guy, his name was Vinny Forza, Italian guy. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, "Man, you got potential, man." He was like, "I like how you work." He's like, "Your name is Jerod." He's like, "You watch baseball?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know who Heir is?" I said, "Yeah, kind of sort of." He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm black. Black people don't really watch baseball, but I know who Jerod is." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna start calling you Jerod because you're a superstar. You knocking it out of the park." So from that point on, for anybody who ever worked for the Cheesecake Factory, they know me as Jerod. So right now today, if I go to Miami and bump into somebody from Cheesecake Factory, or even on Facebook, they be like, "What's up, J-Rod or J-Dog or whatever?" So the J-Rod stuck. And from there, I was just picking up quick, man. It was very, very fast paced, very, 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 very busy. But I was holding my own. So they fast tracked me. After like a week into training, the corporate people got together and said, "Okay, we're gonna fast track him to become an EKM, which is executive kitchen manager, instead of just a regular kitchen manager."
So now we get some new titles now.
Right. So the way Cheesecake works is you have to take these tests online, and then and corporate people come in and they test you on every time you get to a certain level. And they was fast checking me. So here we go with the hating again. So I'm coming in, I'm jumping over people that have been with the company 4-5 years. I'm there a year, 2 years. I'm jumping over them. Now I'm their boss. And here go the hate. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with that again. But it wasn't as hard as dealing with my homeboys. That was hard.
Because y'all had a bigger relationship, outside of work.
Outside of work, right. So I dealt with that okay. And then I got promoted, and I was running my own store within, I'm gonna say, 2 years.
So it's almost like every step of the way, when you, especially in these corporate jobs, there's always somebody higher up that sees something in you.
Man, I had an interview with somebody before, like they asked me, did I have a mentor? I was like, no, there was no mentor. But every time I got to a certain spot, like someone was there and helped push me to the next level.
Right.
Every single step, my whole entire career, even to now.
That's the airflow. I mean, that's you flowing there. You where you supposed to be, and God would drop somebody in your path for the season just to help you get to that point. So they, in a way, they were probably mentoring you, but you didn't see it because sometimes mentorship, it goes both ways. But they saw you and said, "I'm gonna help you," and maybe it's maybe they're paying it for something that that somebody did for them.
Right.
But certainly the fact that they were able to do that for you, and you know that's always going to cause some conflict with other people. Like, I've been here longer, or you know, I want that position, but you know, you came in there, kept your head down, did the work, and you know, sometimes you know, favor ain't fair,
Right.
and that's just how it goes. So you're running cheesecake factories. You got your own cheesecake factory store that you're running.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I was pretty much running two of them.
Okay.
And I wanted to become a corporate chef. And that was big money. And they had it for me. They just would never commit it. And then I got a call at my cheesecake factory. The phone was ringing, and I never answered the phone. I was like, let those little hostess girls answer the phone. I'm too important to answer the phone. That's how I used to be. Like, somebody call for me, screen the call. I'll tell you if I want to answer or not.
Tell my secretary. How the secretary answer.
Yeah, right. So phone was ringing, and Lord told me to answer the phone. I get on the phone. Now, it's important that I answer the phone, because if I have my phone calls being screened, so if someone else would answer the phone, information would have got out. When me answer the phone, I'm like, "This is Chef Jerod. Oh, we've been trying to contact you for about 6 months now." I'm like, could call my cell phone. I was like, if you're trying to contact me and you don't have my cell phone number, that means I don't know you and you ain't supposed to contact me. It was like, no. We call your cell phone, and I don't know what they said, but it was like, we are a recruiter for Landry's, and we want to see if you're interested in talking about, you know, being an executive for our company. Like, I'm already an executive for Cheesecake. Like, I'm cool with Cheesecake. And she was like, it'll just take a minute of your time. We just want to talk to you. And Lord said, okay, talk to him. Don't shoot him off. Because I was getting calls like that often, but not specifically. Right. It would be a random. Are you happy with your job?
Yeah.
Here? But these people were looking for me specifically.
So he's targeting you. This wasn't no just
right.
recruiter. They right. We been looking at you for a minute.
Right. So I was like, okay, I will be in my car driving at 5:13 p.m. I was being an a-hole. I was like, if you don't call me at
5:13, that's exact.
Right. I was like, I don't need no job. Like,
right.
You know, the Lord told me to listen to him. I was like, okay, God. I was like, if y'all don't call me at 5:13, you know, I got another phone call at 5:15. I ain't answering the phone. Dude, bro, I got off at 5, and I was driving out of the garage, and I'm driving home. And I'm like, okay, now. 5:12, 5:13, the phone rung. I'm like, okay. This is Chef Jerod. She was like, yeah, this is a recruiter from Landry's. Are you familiar with Landry's? I like, never heard of. She was like, they own the Rainforest Cafe. They own Bubble Gum and all whatever the names they said.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, lady, I've worked for the Hard Rock Cafe. I'm a chef. At this point, I got my culinary degree. I don't want to leave the Cheesecake Factory when I'm doing scratch cooking and go work at the Rainforest Cafe to be flipping burgers again.
Right.
I was like, you gotta come better than that. You say you was looking for me, but I was being an a-hole, man. I was like, if you was looking for me, you'll know that, you know, I would want something greater than just, you know.
Google me, check my resume. I ain't
right. It wasn't nothing to Google back then.
Right, yeah, back then it wasn't Google. It was Yahoo, maybe. You might have
right. But if you Yahoo me, you wasn't gonna get nothing back then. I don't even know if you get together going in, nothing. But she was like, okay, but if I set up something with my managers or with a manager, the meeting would be at the Rainforest Cafe in, you know, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I said, yeah, I'm in Miami, so that's a good 30-minute drive, whatever. So long story short, Lord told me, just don't turn down, just go listen to what these people got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now I'm not mad at the Cheesecake, but they had me in limbo for a while because I'm running 2 stores. It's busy. It's a busy company. I'm shining. Like, they really depended on me. I traveled for them. I opened up stores for them.
Okay.
You know, if someone had issues with like inventory, they would send me there to fix issues. So I was like their go-to guy, you know. And I wanted to get paid like one of the big wigs. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the interview. So I went to the interview at the Rainforest Cafe, and they walking me through the rainforest. I'm like, I told this lady, I ain't want to work here. So they interviewing me, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. I don't want to work here. So they sat down, we started talking, and they was like, so what do you think? I was like, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I'm not looking for a restaurant where, because they had the ribs coming in already made and stuff like that.
I've eaten there a few times. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was like, I can't, that's not what I'm about, man. I'm a from scratch type of guy.
Right. And
he's like, well, we got other places. I was like, okay, well, what you got? It's like, there's this restaurant. Now I'm meeting them in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm from Miami. So everything they're telling me, I'm thinking it's local, right? So it was like, we have this restaurant with like a 300,000 gallon tank in the center with over 500 species of fish, including sharks and eels and, you know, blow turtles and, you know, all the stuff that you can see in the wildlife. We have them in the tank. And in the center of and around that are tables. And it's a seafood restaurant, and you can bring in your own fish and you fillet it yourself. Like, does that sound good? I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds good. I'm thinking like, but where that's at? On South Beach? You know, we didn't go to South Beach too much. We went over there, but I'm like, South Beach? It's like, no, it's in Nashville. Nashville? What you talking about, Nashville? How we go from, you want me to run this old rinky dink? That's what I'm saying. I ain't saying it to them, but rinky dink Rainforest Cafe to, you know, this elaborate chef in Nashville. And they was like, but just think about it. So I say, so hold on. You gotta tell me what you're thinking. So are you saying you want me to relocate? It's a possibility. You know, we had a flood a few years ago, and now we getting this place back up and running. And I had no idea about no flood, nothing about Nashville, nothing. So I said, I don't know, man. I gotta think about this. So I went home, told my wife about it, and at this time, I'm on my second wife now. I'm on my second wife, and I'm telling her about it, and she just had my daughter, Denila. Brand new. Denila probably not even 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So yeah, she's new.
Yeah. And, you know, my wife then, she, you know, I just had a baby in my family. Yeah, baby, I understand. So if you say no, we weren't at this point yet, because I was on the no. Mm-hmm. Then I got another call. I got another call from Landry saying the corporate people are flying in from Texas on this date and would like to meet with you. And she was like, if they are coming, I'll advise. This is the recruiter lady. I advise you to go, because they are like big dogs in the food industry. Mm-hmm. She said, I just want you to go and listen to them. I know you went before, and you're going to probably want to tell me no, but I need you to go and just listen to them. I was like, all right, now I ain't tell the wife I was going the second time. Mm. So I had told the cheesecake that I had a doctor's appointment to go to, because I didn't want to get home later than usual, you know what I mean? So I told him I had a doctor's appointment to go to. So I drove to Fort Lauderdale again, and the vice president and the chief executive officer of Landry's, they flew in just to talk to me, and they offered me the job again, officially, and said that they would fly me and my family out, pay out whatever lease I got, give me a signer's bonus, pay to move me, and ask me what salary I wanted.
Oh, so they gave you the blank check thing. What do we need to pay you to make this happen?
Right. So I said, well, I need to go home and talk to my wife. So when I got home, I was like, dang, how am I gonna tell my wife I want to know? I said, hey, so the people came to my job.
Trying to play that off.
Right. And we met outside, and they offered me a job in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know nothing about Nashville. I said, but they're going to pay for everything to move. We in this lease here, so they'll buy us out our lease. They'll fly us out there to pick out somewhere to live. Like, they putting out all the stunts. And then they offered me, they offered me like $70,000 to move plus a signing bonus.
Wow.
And, I was like, I think I was making like 55, 60, somewhere up in there. So she was like, $70,000. I said, yeah. So I said, if you say no, babe, I won't do it. And she was like, all right. So I called them and was like, I think they were offering me like 60 something. I was like, listen, you pay me 70 something thousand, I'll do it. And then the person, the liaison person, I think was still the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way they're gonna do that. I was like, well, what do I got to lose? I'm fine here, man. They looking for me. Like,
right.
You just tell them
shoot for the moon.
$72,000.
Yeah,
right.
Shoot for the moon.
And she told them, okay, are you sure you want me to tell them this? Because they're not gonna go. Okay. Because at the same time, she get a cut. So if she tell them 72 and they say no, she ain't getting nothing.
She not getting anything out of it. But if the risk pays out, she get paid a little bit more. So.
And then she said, okay, I'm going to present this 72. I said, all right. And then I hung up the phone. I was in a church meeting then. Hung up the phone with her, went back into church. And then the next day, she called me, you're not going to believe this. I said, I already know. They said, yeah. So that was sometime in November. They wanted me to quit the Cheesecake Factory, not give a 2 weeks notice, man. And
oh, wow.
Be in Tennessee, or I had to go to Texas to train. Be in Texas around Christmas time. And I was like, nah, man, I don't work for these people for 6 years. Like, I'm going to give
burn that bridge,
a notice. You know what I mean?
Right.
So January 1st, 2012, Nala was born November 17th, 2011. So January 1st, I'm up in the air, leaving Miami, flying to Texas to go start my training.
Wow.
Within a year at Landry's, they pushed me. I got promoted and pushed over the 6-figure mark. A year later, they gave me another 20 stacks.
So they just like, so sounds like it was the right decision, and God helped to guide you there. So, sometimes you got to leave where you're at to go to that next place. And it can be hard leaving family and such. So,
yeah.
So now you're here, and I don't want to, I'm trying not to skip around too much because,
right.
It's good, but you get here, you're working at the restaurant, with the fish and everything. So you're doing that.
Man.
Things are going well there. So obviously now you've been working there as a corporate job and, doing that. How did you, transition into Nashville and, kind of what helped you to make that transition here in this area? And then, from a work perspective, continue to thrive, to be better.
Wow. Nashville, man. Nashville is a lot slower than where I came from, as far as like, how people move around and,
right.
What's going on. So, Miami is like fast, cutthroat. Everybody's on edge all day long. I come here where, people are nice and people speak. And I wasn't used to the Southern hospitality. So I had to adjust to people being so nice. I know that sounds weird, but I felt like out of place.
It's not real. I mean, it's not weird. It's funny you say that because that's how I felt when I first came down here from Detroit. It was, everybody was like, they look you in the face. They, hey, how you doing?
Right.
Detroit, you know, you look at anybody, when you walking down the street, you might get a head nod, and that's about it. But people stop to speak and how you doing, sir, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, I went back home and I did that. And people looking at me crazy, like, man, who you talking to? You know me? I'm like, I had to forget. I had to remember where I was. But yeah, I definitely know that feeling. And that was the nice thing about it. I got a taste of that Southern hospitality. So
as far as the work, I just did what I've learned over the years. And Landry's was a bit unorganized. And I helped them put some systems in place that I learned from the Cheesecake Factory and some recipes that I had on my own from my food truck, because they were seafood. So
that was right up your alley.
That was right up my alley. So I used to ask them when I first got there, can I, run some specials and stuff? And they didn't know anything about me. It was like, no, just get the restaurant up and running first. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And the good thing about the aquarium restaurant that I was working at, that I was the executive chef at, I had this general manager named Bill. A lot of times when you have someone talented, you try to suppress them, or you want to keep them, like for the Cheesecake Factory, I couldn't be creative. Like I had recipe ideas and I would make stuff for corporate when they came. They're like, oh yeah, that's good, but we got somebody to do that, right? You just do what we say.
Focus on what they hired you for, and you couldn't get creative.
Right. For Landry's, they were telling me no. But my general manager was like, man, this is good, man. Like, I would make them stuff that I was selling on my food truck, or I had every seafood in the book at Landry's. So I'm like, I'm in heaven. Like, I would play around with recipes. Like, I would read their recipe. Like, Landry's recipe is like, this don't make no sense. Like, I'm going to make it my way. So I would change their recipe and make it my way. And my general manager was all for it. So we wouldn't tell corporate. We just had better food than all the other aquariums.
Right.
And sales kept increasing. And he was like, well, what are y'all doing down there? And then I said, well, there's some recipes that you guys gave to me that I had to fix. And what do you mean? Fix our. So I showed them. I said, okay, they come down every so often. I'm like, taste this, and then taste this.
Right.
And they were like, okay, this is our recipe. This is good. Oh man, what did you do? I was like, I just tweaked a couple of things in the recipe, and I added 2 little things. And I tell them, this is what we sell now. I said, before I changed it, the first 6 months I was here, we sold 3,000. After I changed it, we sold 8,000. People like it. I was like, but I also been doing some other stuff, because I asked them, could I run specials? And they said no. I said, I know y'all told me I couldn't run specials, but I ran some anyway. I said, I ran this special. I think it was a tilapia in New Orleans. I did a tilapia with Cajun cream sauce with crawfish, and scallops, and shrimp.
That sounds good.
Right. And they were just putting blackened seasoning on there and just sending it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, I rung it in under something else, but I just want you to know we sold 800 and something of them, a total of $22,000. And they looking at me like, who the hell is he?
Like, this dude coming here changing up our recipes.
Yeah, I changed all their stuff, man. But I changed it.
Helping the bottom line, so they gotta pay attention to it.
So they was like, wow. So it was like, okay, keep running your specials. I need you to write out the recipe and send it to me. I was like, I ain't got it. I already got it written out step by step. It's already, my prep cooks got it back there. Like, we running it here.
Right. Y'all been doing it. So this ain't like just something I came up with and said, here, try this. Like, we've been doing this for a minute.
Right. And I was like, I apologize. You told me not to do it, but I figured if I did it and it didn't work, I mean, at least the worst you can do is fire me. It ain't like I'm gonna die or something.
Right.
I say, but if it does work, I mean, we got some new recipes we can work out.
Yeah.
And I say, y'all just got this real, like this simple menu. You can change the menu out or add an additional, seasonal menu or something.
Yeah, kind of rotated different things in and out, which diversifies the menu, which is always good.
And from that, they was like, man, this is so good. We need to let's put you in one of our contests for our chefs. And I'm brand new now.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the corporate guys was like totally against it because he didn't come and he didn't have food. So it's like, yo, we got this chef down in Nashville from Miami, man. He'll do good in this competition. Landry's a big company.
Right.
They got all these restaurants and a lot of them high end. Yeah. So the first competition that they put me in, the only reason I got in there because the top dog said no because he didn't come. He was like, no, he's too young. Because they so serious. It's so competitive.
Yeah.
Different regions and all that, and it's like bragging rights.
Right.
So they're not just going to put anybody in the competition that ain't proven. So my corporate chef was like, here go one of those people again. Like, okay, if you don't put him in, I'm going to step out and let him go in my place.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you do that and he don't do good, that's your behind. So He put, not his job, but he put himself on the line. Yeah. So my corporate chef, who was in charge of all the aquariums, a few of the Cadillac bars, which is a Mexican brand, theme place, a couple of other Rainforest cafes, a couple of other Vic and Anthony's, the high-end steak-ins. He took himself out and put me in his spot.
Wow.
He put me in. I'm like, so now I'm flying to Galveston, entering a contest. Ain't never been in no contest before. I was scared.
Hey, but again, you think about it, it's the pattern, right? It's the pattern.
Oh my
it's
God.
Always somebody that puts themselves out there for you to fail because they know that you got something special. And that's why I say it's just, if you see guy working through it, where at the time you're like, man, this is crazy, but people are risking their jobs, you know, for you now, so it's more than just I'm sharing information or I'm helping to propel you to this next place. Like they believe in you so much, they're like, I'm gonna risk my job because you that good. So, man, that's crazy. So you're flying in the contest, you're nervous because you're like, man, I got a lot of weight on me now. I gotta go out here and perform. So
right. And he was like, just relax, just be you. And I had never been to a competition before, and those are big. Like you got media, magazines, local TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big deal. They rent out this whole Galveston Island, which the owner owned anyway, and bring in the company, 50 of the company's best chefs, maybe 30 of us, and we all competing against each other. And then you get the prep and stuff like that, but you got a certain amount of time to plate your dish and put it on the plate, and it goes out blind. Like they don't know who made what. Like the judges that's at the table. Yeah. So man, I was in 3 different categories, and the first one I think I did like a tequila lime snapper and shrimp. Oh my God, it was so fire. I think I did like a basil gastrique and then another chili vinaigrette.
You're right there. You putting gas streaks on the plate and vinaigrette. I mean, I know what they are because I've seen them, but again, that's that culinary and just all them years of working through that stuff, man.
Man, I had starfruit, like charred starfruit, and it was a really nice dish. And I did that. I think I did some boudin, fried boudin, fritters or something like that. Mm. And then for the last one, I did a lobster mac and cheese baked, a lobster mac and cheese, and I cooked it inside of a baked Parmesan cheese shell. Mm. And I made some kind of sauce with some crispy pancetta and, some lobster on top, man.
I'm getting hungry. I'm getting real hungry,
dude. So when I was practicing my dishes, my corporate chef was like, put my main dish, the lobster mac. He was like, put the lobster mac in the middle and put the sauce all around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I told you, I'm like, I like to do things different, not traditional.
Yeah.
I was like, no. And I take balls to him, no. Now he just gave up the spot for me.
Right.
I should be telling him, okay, chef, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, chef. I was like, I'm sorry, but every plate that I see, even on TV, got the main dish in the middle and the sauce coming around like the outside. I say, I'm going to turn the plate counter corner and put the main dish like right in the top of the triangle of the, I had a square plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to have the sauce coming out, like the sauce coming out.
Yeah.
He's like, we're not used to that. I say, hey, man, you ain't used to me. Like,
go hard or go home.
So every score tally, you don't know until the whole ceremony at the end.
Mm.
So they doing a ceremony and they rating the stuff and they say, okay, for the appetizer, the runner-up is, third place is, they don't do a runner-up and the winner. The runner-up is boom. And it wasn't my tequila lime snapper.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that one was the winner.
Right.
I was like, dang, I'm hurt. This man flew me out here. Now, I don't think he expected me to win, but I think he expected me to get some kind of acknowledgement.
Place or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one came. And then when it came around for the lobster mac, it said a runner-up for whatever the category is, and they showed it, and it wasn't me. I'm like, dang, because I'm new. Ain't no way in hell I'm finna win this whole competition, right? So they say, okay, for the category of entree, the winner for this specific one is, and my lobster mac came up, and I'm like, oh my God. Nobody know who I am now.
Right, they're like, who is this guy?
They clapping and stuff, and then the corporate people and even the guy who's like, no, he shouldn't go. I'm their division,
right?
I'm representing the division that they are over. And he's like, I knew it. I'm like, yeah, I bet you did, but I'm so overwhelmed, like I can't take it all in.
Right. So
now I'm shaking. I go up, I get my award, and then you shake everybody's hand, you take pictures, you go back to your seat, and they still continue with whatever category, dessert, whatever. And then they said the overall winner for the entire competition, which this dish was far better than any other dish that we've had, no matter what category it was. This was the best dish that
top of the best of the best.
Yeah. And it hit the thing, and it was my lobster mac. I damn near fainted.
Man, that was probably like I can see you probably went through like all kind of ranges of emotions on that one.
I was like, wow.
Somebody,
and that's when I said,
there.
Yeah, and that's when I said,
well, you were supposed to be there, but yeah. I'm
really good at this. Like,
yeah. So after all these years, now you just really starting to see like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
When I won that competition, I was like, this is definitely what I need to be doing for the rest of my life.
And you about 15 years in.
Right.
Like that
right. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. Like, it ain't no overnight, I'm a chef type thing.
Right.
Like, man, it's hard work. Like that lobster mac and cheese recipe, I practiced it like 20 times. I would present it. And listen, as a chef, you gotta have tough skin because everything you make ain't good. And everybody ain't gonna like everything you make.
Get critiqued, for sure.
So I practiced that, and it was like, because in the beginning I was putting like blue cheese in it, and I was practicing for the people at my store in Nashville, and he was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not. Like, what do you mean? It's good." But I had to take their, advice into consideration.
Right.
So I just kept adjusting, and I must have made that particular recipe 25, 30 times.
But it's good. It's good because, again, part of growth is being able to have people around you that you trust to critique you, but in a constructive way, and you're willing to take that and use that to your advantage versus, you being, kind of, dismissive to him, like, y'all don't know what y'all doing. I'm the head chef.
Right.
I know it's good. And, so again, that's good about having the right people around you to help you to get to that next place. But so you was going through the process with the recipes and, you know, tweaking them and doing this and that. So how did you know, like, this is the winner right here? Or from your perspective, you know, this is the one I want to take to the competition?
I had nobody that said it wasn't good. And it was just beautiful to look at.
Okay.
You know, so and I took a traditional kind of mac and cheese. You know, I'm chefy, so I made gnocchi. I didn't use the traditional pasta.
Right.
It was a gnocchi. It was a gnocchi mac and cheese.
Wow.
And
so that was so it was pretty dense then.
Yeah, it was. I made a light gnocchi.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't make it too heavy. I didn't make the flour, the pasta. I didn't make it too heavy.
Okay.
And I played around with that for a while. So, you know, just the name gnocchi, lobster, mac and cheese, it sounds good. So now I got to make, and this is crazy. I always make the name of something first and then make the recipe fit the name with everything I do.
Okay.
I said, dang, that sounds good. And now I gotta make that happen. I don't come up with the recipe first and then name it.
Yeah.
I make this crazy sounding recipe name and I put it out there. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta make this work. And I got a certain amount of days to do it because the people gonna want it.
So you putting it out there in the air, you putting it in the atmosphere, and you know now, but that's where the ideas and how you put it together comes out, because you seeing when you name it first, you're seeing the end result in the beginning.
Right, I see it.
You know what I'm saying? So that's good, because some people don't even have the thought to do that. They're like, man, let me put it all together and then I'll think of a name. You're like, all right, I'm gonna name this, and then everything, you know, stuff start coming together. Like, man, this fits this perfectly. So that's a good talent and a good thing to have, to be able to do that. So no, it ain't too crazy. I like that. You know, that's how you work your thing. So that's real good.
Yeah. So from that, I flew back. It was such a big deal. Like,
so you the man. You come back off the plane, come to the restaurant, and you like, you know,
I'm the best chef in the company.
Right. You top dog now.
Yeah. Been around about a year.
And already knocked off the top.
Got the best sales increase at my restaurant.
You done changed everybody's recipe. You done changed the company's recipes around.
Man, I got a picture of all the awards I got one year. I had the cleanest restaurant. I had the best labor. I had the best culinary program. I was killing it, man. I was killing it with Landry's. And it was only because the general manager was like, he wasn't telling me what to do and how to do it. He was like, hit this number or better.
Yeah, he just gave you the target and said, look, if you can do this, I'm gonna let you do your thing, which is sometimes giving people that creative control is very important. And, you know, as a culinary, you know, as a chef and, you know, being in the culinary arts, you know, you're an artist, you got to be able to express that creativity. So that's good that he allowed you to do that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then I just started entering all type of competitions. The company was putting me in everything, and I was knocking them. I was knocking them down. I'm going Vegas. I'm going to California, represent Landry's, and I'm coming home with other plaques, and I'm like, am I freaking dreaming? Like,
so
it was crazy, man.
You out crazy. There dominating the circuit. You know, you doing your thing. So, you know, let's fast forward a little bit. So now you're winning these competitions, you're working for this, you're making these just incredible recipes. Like, at what point did you stop and say, you know what, I'm making this company a lot of money doing these kind of recipes. When I need to look at doing something on my own.
Okay, so now I'm back in my restaurant after traveling. And when I traveled, I was going to, not only for competitions, but I was going to the restaurants, the Landry's, implementing my recipes, you know? And then now I'm in charge of, I'm going to say, 4 restaurants inventory. So when they get their inventory on Mondays, when they finish it, they have to send it to me. So now I'm not only seeing my sales at my store, I'm seeing all the other stores' sales. And I'm adding up all the thousands of dollars a week. And it took some time after everybody was going home, after I did all my reports for the day, I would stay and do my own report on how much money I single-handedly was making the company. And it was sickening, man. It was over $500,000 a week when you combine all of them. And I was like, this don't make no sense, man.
Yeah.
And then I'll be working in my restaurant and seeing those trays go out with all my beautiful food.
Right. You just seeing money on the trays.
Right. And before it was a pride thing. Like I was like, yeah, that's me. Like, you know, they know I can do this. And then after a while, it was like, I ain't getting nothing for this. I know y'all paying me, but the money y'all paying me is like, you know, 2 days at my store.
Right.
Like you paying me 2 days of sales of my recipes out of this one location. That's the salary y'all giving me. And it's a really good salary.
Right.
But I'm worth all the millions that y'all done made. You know, off of it. So I saw that and I was like, okay, I gotta do something because I can't stomach this no more.
Right.
I can't take it.
You start seeing your value. You really start seeing it. And like you said, you took the time to do your own report, which again, that's another tip for people, you know, even on the jobs you work, think about what you bring and understanding your value. You really started seeing what your value was to the company or is to the company at this time. And, you know, that changes the conversation. That gives you a different outlook on things. It's not to be towards the company because, you know, they hired you, they gave you the opportunity to grow and to expand. But at some point you say to yourself, there's got to be more. And I guess you got that when you start doing the reports and you seeing how much you bring and you're like, okay, I'm missing out on something here, you know, something bigger. And I think that's where guys start planting that seed. It's time to go to that next place. So, you know, so you're doing these reports and you're finding out all this stuff and like, you know what, you know, something needs to change. So, you know, where we go from there?
Wow. So I talked to my wife about it and we were supposed to, she had just graduated and got her accounting degree. So now the roles are going to flip a little bit. Now I had money saved up. So now instead of her being responsible for like little things, like, you know, I need you to be responsible for the money that's saved and you're going to have to carry us until I get this catering company up and running. And we fell apart in the middle of that whole transition.
Yeah. So
now I'm not with Landry's no more, and I'm not with her no more. So I'm back at the beginning again. You know how many times I had to start over?
Right.
So I started working for Ted's Montana Grill as the chef there. So I'm back to working.
You were the head chef.
Yeah, I was the head chef. Yeah.
So you go all back to the beginning, but still, you know, not at the level that you were at Landry's.
Correct. Okay. I'm award-winning, you know, top chef to just head chef, and I just not to you know belittle being the head chef.
Right.
But I definitely took a few steps back.
Right. But it's okay because, you know, you were there. It's part of your process. So it's not to say everything's bad, but, you know, you were at a higher level, but situations happen. Life throws some challenges and, you know,
most definitely
you go back to it. So you're at Ted Montana's, you're working as a chef and, you know, I definitely know part of this story, but again, it's definitely interesting to prepare yourself to the place that you are today. But, you know, how does the transition going to Ted's, you know, from there and then, you know, kind of take us into where you are now?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I didn't like working there. This is the first time in my career, like, I didn't like where I was working. So I knew it was going to be temporary, but I started over. not only with work, I started over with my personal life too.
Life,
Like
yeah.
my whole life started over, you know.
Right.
So I worked the job and I gave it everything I had. And I worked a lot of hours and it was short-handed and it was short-staffed. And I was doing job functions that I hadn't done in years, like actually like cooking on the line and prepping. Because at Landry's I had people to do that. I was just, you know, running. I had 3 chefs under me.
You were just directing.
Right. I was just running the show. And so to have to go back, I don't want to say swallow my pride because I'm not really prideful, but I was doing jobs that I hadn't had to do in years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were so
it's
short.
A change. It's a change.
Yeah, it was a major adjustment. So I worked hard for a long time with with Ted's. But I still tried to do, or I still did my catering on the side as much as I could. Like I never let that dream go. And, you know, so when I could, I would cater, but most of my time was being taken up because I had to start over. So I had to get some place to live. I had to pay bills. I had to take care of the kids. So
yeah,
I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah,
so,
you go from 2 incomes to 1 and, you know, having to balance that and, you know, be responsible for what you're responsible for. So, yeah, that is a shift for sure.
So mentally, with my life change and the job change, I could say I probably went into a depression for a little bit because I didn't like where I was. And I knew I had to work. Yeah. And I knew, you know, trying to build a catering company was out of the question at the time because I had bigger responsibilities. So, yeah, I was in a little funk for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, again, life is going. We know life is going to throw challenges, and you don't plan for that to happen. Nobody goes into relationships or goes into certain situations and plans for the bottom to fall out. But you know, when it happens, you know, what do you think is some of the foundational things that helped you to get back out of that funk and into where you needed to get back on track?
First of all, God, man. To be, you know, to know his voice and to lean on him and to trust him.
Yeah.
Even when it ain't going what we think is our way.
Right.
You know, not knowing he prepared me for something greater. And you don't see that when you're going through. But just knowing God's voice, and no matter how bad it got or how I thought it was going bad, how bad it was to me in my physical eye, not my spiritual eye, to continue to trust God and listen to him. Now that was hard because I'm like, how you want me to do this and I ain't got this? Like, come on, man. Come on, God. Like,
it's faith at a different level for sure.
So definitely God.
And while you're on God, you know, again, just listening to the story, you know, the one thing that I've noticed about you is that every step of the way you heard God and you knew the voice of God, and that helped you to get to the next level, you know, take this interview, do this, go here, you know, and doing that. And sometimes people miss that, you know, it takes being able to know the voice of God because there's other voices that you can hear that can lead you down the wrong path. So that's definitely a good thing. So we got God.
And God's voice, it was a simple instruction and it wasn't forced.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't beat it across he didn't 5-6 times, you know, like, you know, go ahead. And then he would show me that it's really him. Like, okay, so he'll say, listen, like, go to the interview. And then when I'm going to the interview, the lady called me and said, yeah, these people are flying in just to see you. So, and I was like, okay, yeah, I know it was God. You know what I mean?
Right. You getting the big wig treatment, you know. So you see it in the situation, and you know how things are unfolding and stuff that they say, well, normally this doesn't happen, or this is very unusual for us to do something like this. So that's how you know God is working through the process. So, you know, you had God, you know, which is, you know, a given. What else kind of helped you to get out that funk and really transition?
Bro, I'm telling you, I told you when I was cooking that flour on that cannon.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing worse. Listen, I could be in my house with no AC and sweating my behind off, right? But as long as I ain't gotta cook no flour over no candle on tin foil plate,
right,
I'm good.
yeah.
So that, even though that was probably the hardest part of my life, those years, and I was young, man. Like I was like my youngest son age. He 8,
yeah,
and my daughter 9. Like I see them playing around and laughing and stuff like that. That age, I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat, and I can't go ask the man at the store for no more store credit because my mama already owed him $100-something, and he ain't gonna give it to me. And I can't go to my neighbor because we done burnt our bridges with her. So
yeah,
so as long as I ain't gotta go through that experience, my childhood with like what I went through with no lights and digging in a dirty clothes hamper for clothes and stepping over crackheads and bums in my house to get out the door. Like, long as I ain't got, I'm good.
You and your kids ain't got to deal with that. You can get through anything at this point.
So that kept me going. And then when my dad was working, he was a hard working man, and there ain't no job I'm not too prideful to do any job to take care of my family. Yeah. So I just put those 3 things or those 4 things together, and that kept me going.
Yeah, and that's something, I hear a lot of people that say that, there's no jobs out there, or, it's hard to find. I'm like, look, there's a million jobs. They may not be stuff that you want to do. I told my wife, if I had to go and work at McDonald's to keep us moving, I'm gonna go work at McDonald's. I'll work another job. I mean, you do what you have to do to get to where, to get past the point, you still keep the faith, but you got to get up and work, you got to keep pushing through. So, and I saw that with you going through that, I had the opportunity to see some of that. And that's why I said, the information that you shared, it definitely provided that inspiration. Like, if Jerod can keep going through it and doing this stuff, and going through his transition and starting his own business, which, talk about real quick, but, going from the highest of highs of, being in the corporate world from a chef's perspective, to having to start over again and, not only just in your career, but just in life, that's something that fuels you. It's like, man, he can do it. I can do it. I know God is the same guy. So, we can make it. So,
Dude, man, check this out. 2 separate, maybe 3 separate occasions while I'm at TED, there was this Beyonce concert. We got so busy, and it was like a party of like 30 people. And they kept looking at me. They called me over to the table. They said, "You that chef?" Because I had them been on TV and everything. "You that chef from TV and on the YouTube? What you doing working here?" And they taking pictures with me, and I'm like, and I promise you, like, the whole time I was there, I really never posted that I worked. I didn't want nobody to know I was there because in my mind, I took some steps back.
Right.
So I was not ashamed. I guess I was ashamed of working there, but I just had to do what I had to do to take care of my family.
Yeah.
Delivery guys would come, and they'd be looking at me like, yeah, they finna say something. "You that chef from the TV? Why you working here?" Like, I got there so many times, man. Yeah,
but you know what? You still kept doing what you had to do. But I think it also says that, people follow you, people watch you. So you brought up, YouTube, you got a successful YouTube channel, Master King Chef Jerod, over 100,000 subscribers now. You've been on News Channel 5, Talk of the Town several times. I mean, you're like a regular on there, so people around the area that has access to News Channel 5, they see you. So, your popularity is growing. It's not just, the personality, but it's the food. I mean, you got this different style and way of doing things. And, I think this is just, the beginning. So, I don't want to miss, kind of the transition. So you're at TED's, and at some point you get to the place where you gotta make another change. You gotta go back into the entrepreneur mode. So, you want to talk through that?
Dude, so I'm working at Ted's, and you gotta be careful what you say out of your mouth. When you like when you upset, or even when you're talking to God. Like,
Yeah.
I would tell God, and this would be my prayer, or how I would talk to God almost every day. Lord, I appreciate my job, and I thank you for me for having me to be able to provide for my family.
Mm.
But this is not what I want to do, God. And I'm not complaining. I just know there's more out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna stay here till you move me. So can you please hurry up and move?
You know what? It sounds funny, but sometimes, like, my kids always ask me, like, how do you pray? I'm like, you just talk to God, have a conversation. And it
Yes.
ain't got to be formal. And it's got to be all
Right.
this religious, singing in hymns and all that. Sometimes it's
Right.
just a conversation to let God hear your heart. So
Yeah,
you
it's
tell
times
God.
when I go in, especially like, when I'm home and the kids with their mom, or even when they're here,
Yeah.
I go in, but just the
Yes.
regular praying, because I'm praying all day.
Right.
And you know what I mean? It's just,
Always
Lord,
talking to him.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. So
Okay.
yeah, it ain't gotta be all formal.
Yeah.
But the pandemic happened, man. And while the pandemic was going on, I've been in this business long enough to know what's gonna happen. Like, as far as how the company's gonna react, because I remember I was up there.
Right.
So I was the
Yeah.
one making phone calls like, hey, we gotta cut, labor in half. So you only allowed 20 hours this week. And they was like, oh, that's only one person. Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta figure it out.
It is what it
So
is.
before Ted started calling, I'm calling them. I'm like, okay, what's the plan? What we gonna do?
Mm.
We got 5 employees, and this pandemic just hit, and how are we gonna do this? Are we getting furloughed? Do I need to prepare my staff? And it was like, no, we're gonna try to ride it out. And then I went to work one day, and it was like, call me out. They called me and said, okay, today is gonna be the last day that we're open. But God had already told me, so I went like I was surprised. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They say, so we're gonna shut everything down, and we'll keep you guys posted. And I was like, oh, what are we gonna do with all this food? He was like, take it home, give it away. It's gonna go bad.
Mm.
So just
Yeah.
call the employees, and let them know we're not opening because of the pandemic. Let them know they can come grab some food, because food is hard to get. But we're closing the restaurant, so we don't know how long. So they closed the restaurant, and then they told us, like, the check that we're gonna get next. We were supposed to get, let's say that was a Tuesday. We were getting paid Friday, a
Mm-hmm.
full check. And then the next check would be a half check, and that would be the last check. And then they sent us a furlough letter. So I got furloughed. And then I get home, and I said, okay, what am I going to do? So I jumped online to try to figure out how to apply for the unemployment and food stamps.
Mm.
And it was hard for me. Like, it took me hours to do it because I'm not good at stuff like that.
Yeah.
So after I applied, it probably took me like 14 hours. I was like, man, now I gotta sit and wait on the government to be like, yeah, we're gonna give you this money, we're gonna give you this food stamps. I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I asked God what to do, and he was like, man, do what you do best. Okay. He's like, he started selling some plates.
Yeah.
So I put a menu together. I put a menu together that I was gonna start selling plates like twice a week. And I posted it on Facebook and told the people like how much the plates were, and I'll meet them at certain places to get them the plates. And from there, I started selling plates.
Yeah.
And then after selling plates, that was now I won't say it was really successful, but it was times where I would sell 30 plates, and it was times where I would sell 2 plates.
Mm.
Now, I was doing it once a week, so I can't expect everybody to buy a plate every week.
Right.
And, everybody that was able to buy it, because we're in a pandemic, what I mean? So everybody ain't got it. So
right.
I'm like, okay, I got to figure something else out. So from selling the plates, I kept trying to sell the plates. And I was like, okay, I got to do something else, just regular plates. So then I started doing like seafood days, and that started picking up a little bit. And from the plate selling, I started doing like family dinners.
Mm-hmm.
And from family dinners, I started doing catering for people. And then I just said, okay, let me go ahead and start doing this. Since I ain't doing nothing, let me go ahead and just make it legal. So I went and filed for my licenses and went and paid for the insurance, and my paperwork came in. And then I started doing catering gigs. And then one of the catering gigs I did was here go God again. It was a last minute catering gig. And it's this lady, they own a funeral company in Lebanon. And she reached out to me from social media. And she said, will I be able to do a catering for her for Father's Day? And I'm like, I'm gonna have my kids Father's Day. Like, I don't want to cook for you on Father's Day. That's what I'm saying in my mind.
Right.
You know, God said, take the job. Now, prior to this lady trying to contact me, several people reached out to me to cook for them for Father's Day. And I told them no. Because I've been doing these dinners, like, you know what I mean? And I want to be able to chill on Father's Day. I want to chill with my kids.
Right. Enjoy your time, your day.
Right. And then this lady called and the Lord told me to take it. So I told the lady I would take it. And it was for like 30 people at her house in Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
I had a staff, or I had some people that could work for me.
Right.
But this is last minute and they got fathers too. So then I'm like, dang, I already told her, yeah, God, you told me to tell her, yeah. So I reached out to some of my staff or some of the people that I was paying to work for me. And he was like, yeah, we can help you. We can help you. I was like, dang. So this was like a Thursday, and then she wanted it for Father's Day on that Sunday. So I had to go buy everything last minute, prep everything last minute. And then we took it up there to her, and they ate good. It was good food. It was like mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole topped with some granola, sour cream cornbread, collard greens, fried chicken, sweet chili barbecue chicken.
So you was doing up kind of that Southern kind of traditional, Southern with a little kick to it. Sound good.
Yeah, but then they had like shrimp cocktail and clam chowder soup, was a baked potato soup. They had the bread pudding that I make with the Krispy Kreme donut. So they had a big spread.
Man, they had a great spread.
Now, here's the thing. I made enough just for them.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm loading up, God tells me, make another pan of chicken, make another pan. Tell me make one more pan of everything. And I'm like, but I'm going to be late. God say, go make another pan of everything. So deep. I'm already loaded up. I pull my car and drive. Text the girls and say, I know I told y'all to be there at 4, but be there at 5, and I just let them know I'm late. I run in my house because I was cooking out of my house.
Mm.
I put some more chicken in. I put the mac and cheese in. I did another pan, loaded up, took it there. Boom. We get there. We set up. They not mad. I'm late. They happy I'm there because they was a last minute thing anyway.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody eating, everybody enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, like, Lord, why you told me to make this extra food when the 30 people she said was coming? It was 30 people. Now I got all this food left over. So just packing up to go. And she said, we got all that food left over? I was like, yes, ma'am. She said, you gonna leave it here? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, oh, I'll take it to Mac or whatever. I'll take some food to go and y'all take some food to go. So she made plates to go, right? Now, she took 2 or 3 of the plates, drove all the way to Franklin to this guy, gave him some of the food.
Mm.
He raving. What is this food? This is the best food I ever had. Where you get this from? She said, oh, it's a chef that I got off social media. He was really good. He's a really kind guy. Blase, blase. So he said, you got his information? She gave him one of my business cards. He ate the food. This was a Sunday night.
Mm.
Monday morning, I was up in the morning. She paid me really well. I woke up Monday morning. So I thank you, God, for that. I'll just spend Father's Day on Monday with the kids.
Yeah.
So the kids upstairs asleep. I'm outside drinking a cup of coffee. She called me. Yes, man. So thank you for yesterday. I took your food to this guy. He's one of the wealthiest guys I know. He owns a construction company, and he just bought this $4.5 million house. He wanted us to show. He wanted to show us. So I bought him some of your food. He absolutely loved your food. He said he gonna call you, and he's usually a man of his word, but he's kind of off the wall a little bit. But he has a good heart. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna call you or if he's not gonna call you, but he told me he's gonna call you. I said, okay, no problem. About 3 hours later, my phone rings from a weird number. I answered, hey, you the guy who cooked that food? And I'm like, oh yeah. Yes, sir. He's like, man, I need that every day. Can you come see me? I was like, yes, sir. What time would you like? Now I got kids now. I'm supposed to be spending 5 as a kid.
Right.
He's like, come around 5 o'clock. So I drive out. I got to get the babysitter to watch the kids for a few hours. I drive to this man's house. Man, I'm like, holy crap. Somebody answered the door, walked me through the house to the back, where he at. And he was like, how much would it cost? How much would it cost for you to cook for me every day? I said, every day? He said, yeah, every day. I just bought this house. My wife can't cook, excuse my language, worth a damn, and I need to eat. I got brain cancer, and I need to eat every day. So I told him a price. He was like, all right. He started showing me the house. His wife came home. He's like, hey, this is what's your name? I said, Jerod. He's like, this is Jerod. He's gonna cook for us every day. The wife livid. What do you mean cook for us? We don't need nobody to cook for us. I'm standing right there. She's like, what do you mean cook for us? Like, you're losing your mind. I already went to grab something to cook for dinner. But he's like, you gonna get on board, damn it, and he's gonna cook for us, and that's it. He's like, don't worry, she'll come around. Don't worry. I'm like, what the heck?
Right, you in the middle of something here.
So, long story short, she bought some steaks. He made me cook it that night and asked me to come back the next morning at 6 a.m. to make him breakfast. Had to load the kids up at 5, drive to Franklin at 6. And I've been cooking for this man ever since.
And so let's talk about that, because, you know, some people think about it and say, well, you cooking for one person. Now, you're still doing the catering stuff on, you know, still doing your catering business, still doing that piece of it. But, you know, without giving numbers, obviously, you know, compare what he's paying you to do this versus what you were making at Ted's and you know, some of the other places.
What he's paying me, I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to do any catering. I don't have to do any YouTube. I don't have to do any, all the stuff that I'm doing, all the cooking classes. I don't have to do nothing. I could just sit back, kick my feet up, go to him every day, and live comfortably.
All that one client following God's processes and hearing his voice, one client is enough to take care of you, even though you're going for more than just that.
Correct.
Just the mindset of knowing that if nothing else works, I'm good with this one client I'm dealing with.
Correct.
And he's had you fly out to different places. I mean, you've been, he's been giving you and exposing you to some other stuff. So,
dude, I flew out on this private jet to, I forgot what part of Florida. And from that little small airport that I was in, he had a driver take me to a rental car place. When I got to the rental car place, they was like, you could pick out whatever car you want. So after I got, I think I had a Lincoln Navigator or whatever I had, I drove it to a private island where I had my own suite. It was like a 3-bedroom suite with like kitchen and jacuzzi and hot tubs on the 15th floor overlooking the ocean. And all I had to do was cook for a friend of his one meal for, I was there a whole week. I cooked them one meal a day.
And the rest was your time. Outside of prepping, you know, whatever, to get the meal ready, it was just, you just had time. So you was on a vacation almost.
Pretty much.
with a private jet ride,
Private
your
jet
own
ride,
car,
all expenses paid. Whatever I wanted to charge to the room, massage, whatever it was, they handled it.
right?
When I got there, the front desk was suspecting me. Oh, are you the chef? Oh, welcome, chef. We're gonna take good care of you. Like, I was like, man, this is crazy.
Let's see, people would think, man, this is a fairy tale story. Like, no, this is God. This is when you're flowing and what you're supposed to do. You're hearing the voice of God, and as an heir, this is how you're supposed to be able to live. Don't mean that you won't have challenges and stuff like that.
Right.
You'll have that, but it's how you move through that and build your faith. And the one thing I want to talk about, real quick, and before we kind of ended talking about some of the events and stuff that you have, and just kind of going forward with things, one of the things that we didn't mention is how many people that you've actually given back to in terms of showing them how to prepare food, or, people that were interested in being chefs, or you giving people jobs and opportunities to change their life around, so you were really paying it forward in a lot of ways from where people were helping you. And, I don't want that to go without being said, because, you've helped to alter, with a God, obviously, a lot of people's lives, by giving them and teaching them a skill set that, from what so you're a classically trained chef, went to school, had all this experience, and then you're taking people, who had no experience in helping them and showing them the way, teaching them how to manage kitchens, teaching them how to do catering and how to prepare, how to figure out how much food you need to make based off the number of people. I mean, giving them real tools and tips of how to run their own business. And now you're seeing people opening food trucks, doing, their own private chef stuff, managing kitchens, doing all that kind of stuff. That is all part of the process too of being an heir, because you're sharing that with everybody, and I don't want that to go without being said. That's a very important part of it. You're not just taking, you're giving back. And you're a giver. I know you are. So you'll constantly be receiving because you're constantly thinking about giving. That's why you're getting what you're getting now.
Yes, sir.
Being able to work with one client to basically take care of most of your bills, and now you're getting surplus off of the other things that you're doing.
Right.
The
whole giving back part, man, like there were times when I was younger where it was always someone who saw the situation out that I was in and just was kind enough to, give a loaf of bread, or, some clothes, or even let me take a shower. You know what I mean? So I always said, if I ever had a chance to give back, no matter how small it may seem, like people think, okay, I'm gonna let him take a shower. It's not a big deal to you to let me use your shower, but for the person who ain't took a shower in a week, like, thank God, man. Like, I really needed this. So no matter how small I think it is, people call me for my advice all the time, and I have no problem. Like, some people are selfish and think that, because I have to give, and I got on my soapbox of saying, like, I don't agree with people calling themselves chefs that don't take the route that I took.
Mm.
But if people call me and ask me for my help, I mean, I'm there all day, every day, because I feel like God gave me the talent and the wisdom. Why not share it to help someone else? And you said it, man. Like, all around me is people that's successful. And I don't want to take the credit because it takes hard work to do it, but
it does. But you
people who are, they've reached out to me and they did what I told them.
Right. They followed you set the blueprint and they followed it. So, I say this all the time. It's like playing an adult game of follow the leader. You got to be willing to do that. And then from there, you start to formulate your own ways of doing things. So they may have their own cooking techniques or their own, but they have a blueprint to get started. And then once you get the rhythm and all that down, that's big. I mean, that, and people, what you've done, you could take that and monetize that and put that into a master class of, how to do this, how to run a restaurant, how to cater, and you've been giving that away to people for years for free. but people did the same thing to you. And that's how you were able to get to the place that you're at now, and, you know, continuing to thrive, you know, even in times where, like I said, pandemics and, you know, life changes and all this stuff happening, you know, you were able to provide for your for your kids. You know, you've got 4 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to provide for them. You know, you got money, you got money, you got opportunities to be exposed to different things. You know, you're living a good life, and there's more I know you want to do. And that's why you're continuing to think of different ways to elevate your business and to be able to do more, because you're creating streams, and that's what it's about.
Correct.
And speaking of streams, you know, let's talk about, you know, some of the events. So, you know, I didn't get a chance to participate in the Mother's Day and Valentine's Day events that you did. I saw them, definitely saw a lot of the things online from this, you know, the success of them. I'm definitely, my wife and I are doing a cooking class on Friday. So coming up, excited about that. So, you know, you're coming up with all these different event ideas and different things. Like, what's been the response of from people that have been attending and, you know, just continuing to support these things?
Man, in the beginning, when I first started, my core customer group was, you know, just the people I knew, people from church, my neighbors, stuff like that. But once I started, you know, doing the dinners or, you know, doing the events, I started reaching people outside of the people I knew. And that's what helped me grow my catering business. I could be busy with catering every single day of the week. And I cook for a certain client every day. I have a few more that I cook for. It's not just the one. I choose to do other ones. But every day around 3:00 from 8 in the morning to 3, I'm cooking for people in their homes.
Yeah.
After 3:00, that time is for my kids.
Right.
Now, I cater every now and I cater during the week. I drop stuff off, or I might do some private stuff. But then on the weekends, you know, kids go to their mom Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm booked like crazy, 3, 4, 5 gigs a day on the weekends, and that's why I make a lot of, you know, good money on those. So my events help me to be able to build a clientele to keep me booked. And I'm booked up until June, July, August, September, October, middle of October right now.
Okay.
And that's just from the event. So it's going great.
Yeah. And I know why, because the food is so good, and I can't even get on your schedule because you book and blessed. So that's that. I love it. You know, I love the fact that you are, because you deserve it for sure. You know, with what you're doing, you know, is there any thoughts about maybe future trying to do your own restaurant, brick and mortar, or you like kind of the free flowing of being able to cater and kind of set your own schedule and not really be caught in a restaurant setting again?
The brick and mortar is always a dream, but it would be debt free. So I'm just building right now.
Yeah.
I say building. I'm building clientele. I'm building my reputation. I'm building assets and money and relationships.
Right.
So
which is
very
valuable.
Yeah, which is extremely valuable. So when that time comes, like, you know, I don't have to worry about will they come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right now I'm building, man, and with the different things I got going on, I got the classes going on, I got the YouTube going on. I'm doing pop-ups. You'll see that real soon. I'm working on that. So the catering and the private chef, you know, that's 5. What you got to be, man? How many more I need?
You need 7. They try to say you need at least 7. So you got 5 off of that. So, you know, you well on the way there. And, you know, if you add, was pop-ups part of it?
Yeah, I said pop-up.
Okay, so that's part of it.
I'm working on something right now. So you see that.
So for the audience, you know, obviously we want to make sure that people can get a hold of you. Now, is everything going to be on, you know, all the events, everything, is it on your website?
The website, yes, is www.jerod,
www.masterkingchefjerod, Jerod.com.
Okay.
That gets updated often, but to get like up to date to the minute updates is my Facebook pages is Jerod Wilcher is my personal chef, as my personal Facebook page as JerodWilcher. That's my Facebook, and Kingdom Cuisine Catering Company is my business Facebook. And then I dropped some stuff on my YouTube is Master King Chef Jerod. So,
and I'll make sure for the listeners, we'll have that information in the description. So, we definitely want people to follow you and, just make sure that they can keep in contact with you. You got any planned TV appearances coming up again for News Channel 5? Anything going on in that sector?
Yeah, I think I got to look at the email. I think next couple of weeks, I got something going on. I haven't decided on what to do yet. That's always like a last minute decision.
Okay. When you're popular like that, it's a good thing that you got options on what you want to do versus what you have to do. So that's always a good thing.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Chef, brother, I appreciate this time. I thank you for your story. I know that we'll probably have you on again because God continues to do great things. So this story is not done, but I definitely thought it was something that would be good to share with the audience, and really build and get people to understand that no matter where you come from, it's not about where you come from. It's about what God has planned and purpose for your life. And that's really the airflow right there. So
sir,
I appreciate you, man. Love you. I we'll continue to support you, and we'll make sure we get the information out to the people so they can get in contact with you, and we're definitely rooting for you. So we appreciate it again, and thank you for your time, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you, and we're proud of you too, man. You're doing big things. I'm gonna have to interview you on your own show so you can tell your story.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, we got a lot to tell, a lot to do, but like I said, it's all about getting that information out there, getting people inspired to do what they're called to do, man. And that's what you do. So, I like people like that, like being around people like that to just keep things moving in a positive direction, no matter what they deal with. So,
yes, sir.
Definitely appreciate it, man. You have a good evening. Tell the kids I said hello, and we'll definitely be talking again soon.
For sure, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care, man. Well, everybody, I just want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Airflow Podcast and our special guest, Master King Chef Jerod Wilcher. Definitely appreciate the information and knowledge that he dropped. Definitely going to be coming back to listen to this episode again and again because there's a lot of information that you can draw inspiration from that he shared in this episode. And I want to make sure that you're taking that and using that as to form actions and actionable items to take into your own life, no matter what area you're looking to grow in and develop in. So I'm thankful for the opportunity. Definitely, if you want to continue to follow him, I back him. I endorse him 100%. I've had his food, his service is top notch. He is a true professional. So if you're interested in following him or using any of his services, you can follow him on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Master King Chef Jerod. Or you can also go to his personal website, masterkingchefjerod.com. As always, the Airflow Podcast is sponsored by the Billionaire Flow Apparel Company. And you can find the Billionaire Flow Apparel Company at billionaireflow.com. That's BILLIONHEIR flow.com. So remember, as an heir, you were created to flow. So flow on. Again, my name is Ricky Thomas, and I thank you for listening.